Hi all, Les from Future FX here. I'm just going to take you through Volatility Master, a more in-depth look into the specific settings, what they mean, how they work, how they should be. And I want to go through the specific settings that I'm using, what I'm using Volatility Master to trade. And yeah, that's probably it. Probably show you some of the back testing results too, so you can understand it a bit better. Anyway, let me bring up the chart. Okay, here we are on the MT4, my trading account that I'm using for Volatility Master. We'll start with US30. US30 is the main thing I've been using it to trade. So I've been using it to trade the US30 open, which occurs, once every 24 hours, 5 days a week. So let me show you the settings and we'll go through them one by one first. Okay, so input license, that's your activation key that comes with your software. That has to go in there, of course. Take profit. So it's pretty obvious. We've got a take profit distance set, a stop loss set, so that once the trade's placed, there's automatically a take profit and a stop loss gets placed as well. And this is a trailing stop loss. How the trailing stop loss works, in case you don't know, is once the trade gets into 7,000 points of profit, the stop loss will trail behind at that distance. We also have a profit lock feature. So as soon as the trade gets into 5,000 points of profit, it'll move the stop loss to 1,500 points of profit. So at that stage, it'll be a completely no risk trade. You won't be able to take a loss, and it'll just be a matter of how much you actually make. On that note, when we're talking about pip distances, for all the Forex pairs, Euro US, Pound Yen, Aussie US, whatever, the actual Forex pairs, it'll be the same no matter what broker you're using. With indices though, which is what US30 is, it could vary. It can be quite different from one broker to another. So some brokers will require you to just drop one of the zeros. So it'll be 22,250 instead of 22,500. So if you're on one of those brokers, you'll just need to take a zero off the take profit, the trailing stop, the stop loss, the profit lock activate, and also down here on the partial close and the partial close too. You'll have to drop a zero on all of those. It's just the way they calculate the pips. It just needs to be different, that's all. Rest of the settings, minutes per trade. That's simply this one here. Once it places a trade, it has to wait at least 2 minutes in order to place another trade. So that's just so that it's only taking out, in this case, one trade every second candle. That's also a way you can minimize the total number of potential trades in any given period. Start hour and start minute and end hour and end minute. That just tells the software when it's going to be able to work. So at the moment, up here you can see it says not correct time. So it can't take out trades at not the correct time. Once it becomes 16:31, that will change to correct time, and the software can then start looking for an entry into the market. The US30 open is at 16:30 market watch time. Okay, market watch time is just let me get rid of that for a moment. So here in the market watch, where it displays all your different charts, indices, markets, whatever pairs you want to trade, it has the market watch and it has the time. Okay, that market watch time will be universal for everybody. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, what your time zone is, where your broker is, where your VPS is located. The market watch time will be the same, and that's what the Volatility Master software works off. So if you're going to trade the US30 open, that will always be 16:30. I have mine set to start trading at 16.31, because for this strategy to work correctly, you can't trade on that first 1 minute candle after the open. And the end minute, that's when it stops trading. So you can see that there is a 13-minute window every night, straight after the UF30 opens, that Volatility Master can take out trades. Any trades that get open during this time, they will continue to play out after 16.44, depending on the movement. So they'll either hit a stop loss, a trailing stop loss, or a take profit. That'll all happen. That could potentially take hours after the 13-minute window. Generally, it isn't, but that 13-minute window is when trades can get open. They will get closed out just depending on market movement. Partial close. So in this case, once that trade gets into 6,000 points of profit, it's going to close out 0.01 of the actual trade. I've started with 0.03. The order size, you'll have to adjust depending on your account balance, how much you want to risk per trade, and also your broker. The actual way they calculate the order size can be vastly different from one broker to the next. In a moment, I'll show you the safest way, in my opinion, to calculate what lot size you should need. It's not a technical way, but it's the best way I've found to be certain I've got it right. And there's a partial close too as well, which just works the same as the first partial close. In this case, I'm not closing out anything there. That's simply because I already only have a very small lot size and I don't want to close out too much too early. I really want it all to go right through to the take profit and make the most possible. Okay, so that's my settings for UF30. I always have my settings there like that. I always have the allow live trading box checked here and auto trading turned on here so that this smiley face is smiling. And that can just sit there all the time. I can just leave it on all the time. And 13 minutes every night, it'll just do its thing, do its trading, and then it'll stop and wait until the next day. Now, how to calculate your order size? This is the way I do it. And I do it this way because this is the only way I can be personally really sure that I've got it exactly right. So what I do is I'm just going to, if we have a look at the settings, my stop loss is set at 6,000 points. So I'm just going to place a minimum size trade on the screen. And I'm going to drag the stop loss down to 6,000 points. Haven't gone further enough. Bear with me. Okay, so that's 6,000 points away from where the market was entered. And so you can see there it says pips 6,042, and I'm going to incur a $60 loss. So if I hit that stop loss, I will lose $60. Now, this is a $10,000 account, so that would equate to 0.6% risk per trade. If you change your lot size to 0.02, then you would be risking 1.2% per trade. And so you can do the math from that and work out exactly what order size you should use. And I'll just close that trade out while it's about break even. Don't want to lose any. So that's it for UF30 and how to calculate lot size. Over here we have the DAX. It's a similar indice to the UF30. The UF30 is the Dow Jones index, so it's the top 30 companies in the US. DAX is similar, but it's the German version of, so to speak. And I do it pretty much the same. I have it turned on and smiling all the time as well, because trading the DAX open is very similar to the US 30 Open. It happens once every day, 5 days a week, at exactly the same time. So I can just have it set up and ready to go. And these are the settings I'm using for DAX. DAX opens at a different time with the US 30 though, so I have different time parameters in there, but it's still just a 13-minute window that I'm using. The actual take profit distances and everything are slightly different as well to suit DAX. And I haven't been using DAX long, so I'm using a smaller order size at the moment, but use the same technique to work out the order size you want to use for DAX as well. And I've obviously got allow live trading checked. And the point of this is I've got Volatility Master on US 30 with the settings and everything turned on, so it can automatically trade that 13 minutes every night. I've done the same with DAX, but with different parameters, different time settings, so that it trades the DAX open every afternoon, 5 days a week, automatically. The other times that I use Volatility Master is to trade some of the red folder news events. Just the most volatile ones, I guess, like NFP, CPI, FOMC, PPI, maybe one or two others. But they don't occur every day, and they all can occur at slightly different times as well. So you can see this smiley face it's a sad face. That is because I have the allow live trading box unchecked. So I generally leave this one unchecked so it can't trade. I keep an eye on the Forex factory calendar so I know when there are some red folder news events. When there are, I'll come in here and first off, I'll input the time settings, the time parameters, so that it trades at the right time. I'll change the pip distances and order size depending on which news event it is, because some are a lot more volatile than others. Like NFP is the most volatile one. So I'm probably going to have my stop loss and take profit further apart. Some of those red folder news events you could use. I'm using 1 minute time frame on all of these, so I always have it set to start 1 minute after the open or after that news event starts. The strategy that Volatility Master uses was originally made to trade NFP, and they were using that on a 15-minute time frame and trading for up to 4 hours. I've varied that slightly to suit lower time frames, and particularly to suit the US 30 Open. But depending on what news event you're actually trading, you may want to trade the 5-minute time frame instead of the 1 minute. At the moment, I'm mostly just using the 1 minute though. I've experimented a little bit, and I do just prefer the 1 minute. Other than that, it's all just the same. I'll set the parameters how I want and the time parameters how I need for that particular news event. I will turn allow live trading on. The only thing you need to do though is after the trading's occurred, and quite often that trading for me is late at night. But what I need to do is uncheck allow live trading somewhere after it finishes trading and before that same time the next day, because that same time the next day, it's going to try and trade again if you have allow live trading checked, and there may not be a news event that day, and particularly not one you want to trade. So you will have to remember to uncheck that after it's finished trading that news event, because the chances of taking a profit with Volatility Master when there isn't that excess volatility from a news event or a US 30 Open is much, much less. So you don't want it to be trading except at times of increased volatility. Otherwise, you will take, a lot more losses. It won't be profitable. It's as simple as that. And that's pretty much it, guys. And the reason I'm trading pound US is because most of the red folder news events I trade are US dollar oriented ones. So I need to trade a USD pair. I just like pound USD myself. It also covers me in case there's some GBP news events I want to trade. And also, instead of, one thing I could do is if there's a USD news event, I could trade Volatility Master on US 30 just with different parameters. But I just want to leave UF30 alone, all set up and ready for the UF30 open, so I don't have to touch and change those settings ever. And so for those extra USD news events, I'm just doing that on pound USD. And that's it. UF30 and DAX are set up automatically, all ready to go every day, 5 days a week without doing anything. And then for the red folder news events, I just take them day by day and event by event and adjust the parameters to suit, turn it on before, turn it on after. And that's it, guys. That's Volatility Master in a nutshell. Any questions, please ask, of course, but that should cover most of it for you. Have a good one.